Hello everybody, welcome to my basement. My name is Lynette Kay and I am the 4-H educator at Cornell Cooperative Extension in Oneida County. One of my favorite parts of my job is when I get to share things that I love with you. And I'm so excited that your teacher invited me to join you today because I get to share something that I absolutely love. And I bet you can tell what that is by what's happening behind me. I love plants. I love to grow them, plant them, eat them, and I love the smell of them, but I don't like when the weeds grow in my garden and I have to pull them out. Plants are very important. You might not realize it, but we use them every day. We eat them, we build our houses from the wood that comes from them. That's why it's so important that we learn about them. We need to learn about their parts. We need to learn how to grow and care for them. We need to know how to make more of them. That way we can harvest them to use them. Today, you are going to become the parts of the plant. We're also going to do a demonstration on photosynthesis that will help you understand why plants are green. And we're also going to learn about your favorite and mine, maple syrup. Hi everybody, welcome to my backyard. We're going to learn the parts of the tree by looking at this apple tree. Hi everybody, we're going to start with the roots of the plant. Now the roots are underneath the ground so you can't see them, but the roots have three purposes. One is to hold the plant sturdy and steady, so when it wiggle the plant from the wind or something like that, the tree stands up and stays strong. The second thing that the roots do is it sucks up the nutrients in the soil. It also sucks up water. And the third thing that happens is it's a place for the plant to store food. Now we're going to take a close-up look at some roots. This is part of a hydrangea bush that I dug up from my garden. I want you to look at the different kinds of roots there are. See this big, long one that comes across here? That's one of those roots that helps hold the plant sturdy and prevents the wind from blowing it over. That's also where the food is stored during the winter. And if you can see these real tiny, fine ones, those are called root hairs, and those are the ones that suck up the nutrients and the water from the soil. Now we're going to take a close-up look at the outer covering of the tree, and this is called bark. And if you look at it, the whole tree is covered with this hard surface. Bark is like the skin we have on our body. It helps prevent diseases from entering and the plant from getting bruised from cuts. The next part of the tree we're going to look at is the stem or the trunk. This is the part of the tree that holds the plant straight up and down. It also has small tubes in it called the xylem and the phloem, and those are like straws, and that helps the water come up from the roots and be transported through the tree up into the branches. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the xylem and the phloem, and to do that I'm going to use a piece of celery, and I just happen to have celery in my pocket. Don't you always have celery in your pocket? Let's take a look and see what this is all about. If you break open celery, can you see those long tubes, those fine threads? They're long and skinny. That's the xylem and the phloem. Those are the vascular tissues that help transport the water and the nutrients up and down the plant. It's just like the veins that we have in our wrists. Everybody take a look at your wrists and see if you can see the veins in your wrist. That's how the blood flows through your body. Same thing as the vascular tubes in the celery or in the tree. Up from the trunk, you're going to find branches, and the branches are on the tree. Their purpose is to hold the leaves and to give the leaves as much sunlight as possible, so they reach far out so that the leaves on the ends can get a lot of sunshine, because the leaves are really important. On the ends of the branches, you're going to see where the leaves emerge. And if you look really closely, you can see these little points, and these are called buds. This is where the leaves are going to emerge. In the next couple weeks, they're going to be coming out. This is also where the flowers are going to come out on the apple tree, right here. Let's learn about leaves. The leaves are very important to the trees. They are the food factory. I want you to think about it. Trees cannot go to the grocery store to get food. Plants have to be able to make their own food, and that takes place in the leaves. It happens through a process called photosynthesis. That's a really big word, photosynthesis. And that's a chemical reaction that takes place in the leaves. The leaves mix water and sunlight, and they make plant food, and that plant food happens to be sugar, and it's called sap. Now let's talk about the buds, the flower buds that are going to emerge in the next couple of weeks. These are very important for apple trees. Once the bees come and pollinate them, that's how the fruit is formed. Let's pretend it's summer and we have leaves on the trees, the bees have pollinated, the flowers have fallen off, and now the fruit is going to start forming. You're going to see little tiny apples, and then around September, you're going to see great big apples hanging on the trees like this. All right, this is the fruit. This is the result of pollination. And if you cut open our apple, inside you can see these little black dots. Those are the seeds for the apple tree. Come on closer in. I just noticed something really interesting in the garden. I want you to look really close at this. This is a maple tree, and these are the flowers on a maple tree. A lot of people don't think that maple trees flower, but they do. They're just not the big, beautiful flowers that we're used to seeing on things like apple or pear trees. Now, these are pollinated by the wind, and today is windy, so the wind is going to actually be in here pollinating. So this won't attract bees like the apple trees will. The result of pollination is that the plant produces seeds, and in the maple tree, those helicopters are the seeds for the maple tree. The whole reason that a plant flowers is to produce seeds through pollination. Come on, everybody, let's get out of this wind and get in the garage. All right, we're now going to pretend that we're going to be a maple tree. I'm going to pretend that I'm the roots. I'm going to stick my legs out. These are the sturdy roots that help hold the plant in place. That's also going to be where it's going to store some of the food for the winter. My toes are going to be the root hairs sucking up the water from the soil. All right, the next part of our plant is going to be the trunk or the stem. Come on up, Alexis. You're going to be the trunk or the stem. Remember, the trunk holds the tree up and keeps it straight. All right, so now we're going to pretend that we've got some rain coming in. Matthew, can you come in and water? All right, so we've got some water happening here. The water's going to suck up through the roots. It's going to go up into the stem, but it needs those tubes, the xylem. Come on up, xylem. All right, the xylem starts out low and it goes up high. It transports the water up into the branches. The branches, on the end of the branches are the leaves. When the leaves get hit with sunlight, Matthew, sunlight, the water and the sunlight mix in the leaves, and that's photosynthesis. The result of that is the oxygen that we breathe. Everybody breathe in some oxygen and let out the carbon dioxide. The leaves are going to photosynthesize and make food for the plant. The food is going to come down through the phloem. Come on up, Kylie. You're the phloem. You're going to grab the food from the top of the leaves and you're going to bring it down into the roots, and it's going to be stored in the roots during the winter. So that's what happens inside a tree. The water goes up into the xylem takes it up to the branches, to the leaves on the tree. Photosynthesis makes the food, and then it brings it down through the phloem. So how do we get maple syrup? All right, Kylie, you want to stand up? All right, so in the spring, we come in and we tap the tree. We drill a little hole and put a spigot in. All right, and then we hang a bucket. And what happens is as the food starts to come up from the base of the tree and it goes up into the tree, the trunk of the tree, into the tubes, it gets stopped by that spigot, and slowly, drip by drip by drip, that sap will start to fall into the bucket. And that sap is the plant's food. We take that sap and we boil it down, and that's how we get maple syrup. Now that you understand what happens inside a plant, let's take a look at what happens inside a leaf. Leaves are the food factory for the tree. Plants live their entire lives in one spot. They cannot go to the grocery store when they get hungry. They need to make their own food, and this takes place in the leaves. Photosynthesis is the chemical reaction that produces the food for the plant. To get photosynthesis started, the plants need to breathe. Plants breathe through tiny holes in their leaves. They suck in carbon dioxide. Everybody gently blow out the air in your lungs. You are exhaling carbon dioxide. The plants breathe in what we exhale. Now breathe in. We breathe in oxygen. oxygen in the air is what the leaves exhale, and it's the waste product from the chemical reaction photosynthesis. So another amazing product we get from plants is the oxygen that we breathe. Another reason why I love plants. Next thing we need for photosynthesis to take place is some sunlight and some water. The water is going to be sucked up through the roots, up through the stems, through the branches, to the very leaves. The leaves are going to mix the water and the sunshine together, and that is photosynthesis. The result of photosynthesis is the oxygen that we breathe and the food for the plant, or the sap. All right, everybody, let's do a little bit of an activity. I want everybody to stand up and spread out. Find a space where you've got room to spread out. Stretch out your arms. You shouldn't be touching anything. All right, put your arms down by your side, and here we go. I want you to close your eyes and imagine you are a plant. It's just finished raining, and your roots, your toes, are sucking up the water. Can you feel the water coming up through your toes? It's traveling through the stem. The stem is your body, and out to the branches. The branches are your arms. Lift your arms up wide and far. Your fingers are the leaves. Remember, the leaves are trying to get as much sunshine as they can. As you breathe, remember, the leaves are also breathing. They're breathing in carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen. Now the sun comes out and it starts shining on the leaves. Can you feel the warmth on your fingers? The leaves capture the sunshine and mix it with the water. Wiggle your fingers, and that produces a sugary substance for the plant, and that's the plant food. It's also known as sap. This is the food that the plant makes and is going to eat. A waste product, oxygen, is what we breathe in. Everybody breathe in some oxygen and open your eyes. As promised, we're not going to do an experiment to explain why plants are green. You can see I have 3 containers in front of us. I have one filled with yellow water, I have one with nothing, and I have one filled with blue water. Now, when you're coloring, the color of sunshine is yellow, so that's why we have some yellow to represent sunshine. We have blue water to represent water. When you color the ocean or a lake, it's always colored blue. Our glass in the center is going to represent the leaf. So remember, the leaves are going to absorb water up through the roots, through the stem, to the branches, up into the leaves. All right, so that's the water in our leaves. Now, let's add some sunshine to that leaf and see what happens. Oh my goodness, can you see that? The leaves turn green, and that's exactly what happens. The leaves turn green because photosynthesis is happening. There's a chemical in photosynthesis called chlorophyll, and as photosynthesis is happening, the chlorophyll turns green. It's kind of like when we go out in the sunshine and our skin gets darker because of the pigment in our skin, we get a suntan. That's what's happening in the leaves. The leaves are kind of getting a suntan, but their tan is green. So you always know when photosynthesis is happening because the leaves are green. Want to do the photosynthesis experiment at your house, but you don't have food coloring? Then grab your crayons. Grab a blue crayon and a yellow crayon and a white piece of paper. Here we go. Draw the shape of a leaf with your yellow crayon. Let's put a little tail on it. There's our leaf shape. Very simple leaf. Then you're going to fill it in with yellow, because remember, the yellow represents the sunshine. So we're going to fill it in. And one trick I remember my mom taught me when coloring is to color in little circles. That makes it easier to stay within the lines. But you want to fill all in with the sunshine on your leaf. Okay, just like that. Then we're going to take the blue and we're going to very lightly go over the whole leaf shape. Now remember, the blue represents the water. And when the water and the sunshine mix in the leaves, that's photosynthesis taking place. And the result of that is the oxygen that we breathe. Everybody breathe in some oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide so those leaves can breathe in the carbon dioxide. And there we go. And then we're going to outline our leaf with the blue, like this. And there we have it, photosynthesis, the mixing of sunshine and water in a leaf turns the leaf green, and the result of that is photosynthesis. The food for the plant is made along with the oxygen that we breathe. Now that you know the parts of a plant, you should be able to identify each of these items in front of you as to what part of the plant they belong to, what their function is, and tell me something interesting about each of them. Can you do it? Ask your parents if they can do it. Thank you so much for inviting me into your homes and classrooms today. I hope this video helped you identify the different parts of the plant as well as understand what those different parts do. Plants are pretty amazing, don't you think? I'm going to say goodbye for now, but if you want to contact me with anything, my information is on this page. If you have suggestions or ideas for other videos, please feel free to give me a call. Take care and have a good day. The carrot represents the root of the plant. This is also where the plant stores its food for the winter. The broccoli represents the branches of the plant, and on the ends of the branches, there are actually the flowers. We eat the flowers of broccoli. The celery, you should know the celery because we went over that. The celery is the stem, and inside the stem, there's the xylem and the phloem, and that helps transport the water and nutrients up and down inside the plant. The apple is the fruit of the plant, and that's the result of pollination. And inside the apple are the seeds, the baby plants that will grow into the next generation of apple trees. The maple syrup represents the plant food that is made through photosynthesis. Photosynthesis takes place in the leaves. The cabbage represents the leaves of the plant. And the peas are seeds. Those are actually seeds that you eat when you eat peas.